Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What You Say Anime. I am your host, Peter. On today's episode, we will be discussing and reviewing the brand new Haikyuu movie, Battle of the Dumpster. Joining me today is my seasonal reviewing partner, and it seems like my new movie reviewing partner. We got Cozette. Cozette, how's it going?
Happy to be here, and I'm so excited to talk about this movie.
Yes, we both have just recently wrapped up watching the Dumpster Battle, the newest Haikyuu movie, one of two of the final parts of the Haikyuu series, and it was, to me at least, coming into this, I was super jacked. It's been like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years since we've gotten Haikyuu content, so I've been itching, and boy did it deliver. But before we jump into it, I want to get your thoughts on like your movie going experience. We usually do this every movie review. How many people were in the theater? Do you see in IMAX? What'd you get for snacks? That type of thing.
It was absolutely packed. I didn't get an IMAX ticket only because it wasn't available when I bought my ticket. Darn you, Cineplex.
Ooh.
The whole room was like buzzing as soon as I got in. Like, it's probably the most excited audience I've seen watching an anime film. Like, there's people in cosplay, a lot of people wearing merch. It was just buzzing in the room, and as soon as like the trailers ended and the movie was about to start, it was like silence, and everyone was just so ready. Everyone was so respectful of the film. But it felt like watching like a playoff game, like a real sports playoff. Everyone was like rowdy at like the appropriate moments. Everyone was like gasping, awing, oohing, clapping, applauding. Like, it was an incredible audience, and I think it's because like the whole room was filled with Haikyuu fans. Like, it was the first showing in Toronto, so I gotta give a big thumbs up to the people in Toronto, because like everyone showed up. It was a great crowd. We were all talking about it after like we left the film. There was someone that was like, "There's post-credit scenes," so like most people sat down. It was great. I had an incredible time. It was probably the most amazing anime film experience I've ever had in the last few years. Like, it was better than JJK. It was better than Demon Slayer. Like, everyone was just like itching for Haikyuu content. So it was incredible. I loved it.
That is awesome to hear. For me, we have an ongoing civil war in our Discord between Applebee's and Chili's, so of course I had to represent my group, and we got Applebee's before going to see it, which was very average, as always. But luckily I saw it in IMAX. I think I also saw it at the first showing that, at least in my area, it was probably, I would say, 70% full, and compared to other movies, this was like a really interesting mix of the audience. Normally, like when I saw like Boy and the Heron, I would say most people were probably my age. This one was like, I saw 5-year-old kids. I was also sitting next to like a 50-year-old lady, so it's like everybody was here for Haikyuu, which I loved. I shout out to the 3 girls sitting in front of me. They were losing their they were losing their minds at this movie, which made it super fun. Like, you could tell that they were Haikyuu stands. So kind of like what you said, I would say it was very respectable, but when the hype moments got hype, people were getting really into it. So I wouldn't say it's my favorite anime movie going experience. I think that will always be, for me, the Konosuba movie, just because when I went and saw that movie, I was expecting it to be 5 people, because this is when I was still like an anime, I would say, like, newbie, and I didn't know how popular anime was, and it was sold out, and it was a riot. So it's gonna be really hard to top that movie going experience for me, but this was probably number 2. It was just like a great vibe. Seeing in IMAX was like next level, and I that might be like my first talking point that I want to dive into. But just an awesome movie going experience. Could not recommend it. If you have the opportunity to see this movie, I would say see it in theaters and not wait for it to get on like Crunchyroll, because there's a level to this that was just incredible. So we're gonna dive into that. Spoiler alerts. Obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, we're gonna be talking about it. Also, we're talking about the Dumpster Battle, not like the recap movies or the OVAs where Nekoma is playing prior to this. So if you haven't seen the movie, here's your spoiler warning. So wanted to dive in. The first thing that I wanted to talk about with this movie, and I want to get your thoughts if you felt the same way, that sometimes with anime movies, to me, they feel like a long episode where it's the same type of content. They just stretch it out into a longer storyboard. To me, this felt like a movie, and I was just absolutely blown away by the level of production that they put into this. So did you feel that at all coming into this? Because I guess Haikyuu, I think, does a really good job already in terms of level of production. But to me, I thought this was like a huge step up. What were your thoughts on that?
I agree. I thought it was a huge step up, like in terms of cinematography, the way that was animated, the action, just of the sports in general was a huge step up from like past Haikyuu seasons.
Yes.
It reminded me a lot of Challengers, which is a movie currently out about tennis,
Yep.
but it's two rivals, and it reminded me of Hinata and Kenma, like the way that the ball was shot. It reminded me of the volleyball, and I just walked out of that movie with like complete adrenaline. Like I was so hyped, and I think like it was shot so well. And I agree. Like if you can see it in theater, I definitely think you should, just because the sound, the way that it looked on a big screen was absolutely incredible for an anime film. It kind of reminded me of like how Mugen Train was. It was
Yes.
just incredible on the big screen. So
Could not agree more. I think it's the same way with like, if you've ever seen Pro Mayor, I think Pro Mayor is a prime example of the movie getting elevated on a theater screen compared to watching it on like a streaming service. And I guess as I watch more anime, I get more into like the technicalities and like, you know, like sound design and OSTs and stuff like that. And Haikyuu already has one of my favorite like OSTs in general. Like Battle of the Concepts is like legit my favorite. Like, well, I should say it is my favorite, but it's probably like top 5 like favorite like songs from an OST. I think it matches it incredibly, and I thought they did like, again, just the sound design of just like the balls getting spiked and then the music getting incorporated with the scenes was just like, I'm getting this elevated because of the theater experience that I'm in, where I feel like if I was watching it on my TV, I wouldn't get that. So it's like one of those things where if you want to be fully encapsulated into a series, especially if you love it, because we're both, obviously you can tell if you can't see us, we're wearing Haikyuu merch. Like we're big Haikyuu fans. I want to be immersed in this story more than say a show that I gave a 7. Like Haikyuu is like my number like 15th show of all time. So like if that is the level that you like Haikyuu at, I don't care if the ticket is $40. Like go, I mean, if it's $40, that's ridiculous. But like also like that's what, try to see this in theaters because they raise the level of production so much, including what I also want to talk about, the animation, which Haikyuu already has, I would say, very good animation. I think it handles its action scenes very well, but for the first time in a long time, the first rally that we had in this movie, I got goosebumps.
yeah,
Like it was like I was just like, what am I feeling right now? Like goosebumps in Haikyuu. I think it's a combination of like, you know, really missing this show. It being close to like 3 years without seeing To the Top, and finally getting this content, and it's like, oh, what are we gonna get? And it wasn't just the next episode. It was like, no. We're gonna flex a little bit. And I thought the first rally scene just set the tone for how they were gonna handle this. I'll talk about like the last animation later down the road because I thought that was also really cool. But like, maybe does the animation play a huge part of Haikyuu for you? Because I know for some people it doesn't, but I thought it elevated like the story a lot. What were your thoughts on like the animation?
I mean, for sports, like the ball moves fast.
Yes.
You gotta keep up with it, and so it just felt like the ball was in the room with us. Like the way that the ball was so close to the screen, and the way that they were like spiking the ball and doing all that stuff. I don't know the terms, but it was incredible. I was at the edge of my seat, like I think we were all at the edge of our seats, like sitting like this.
Yeah.
Within the first like 5 minutes, because the first set was like actually incredible. And I think animation does help a lot with sports anime just because there's just so much happening. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of plays. People are diving, people are jumping. There's blocks, there's plays, there's people like. It's just animation plays a huge part, I think, in sports films, and I think with Haikyuu specifically, like I'm not a big sports anime fan, but Haikyuu was the one that I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely incredible. Even just like the first season, the animation I thought was pretty good as well. So I think, yeah, animation in sports is very important because I feel like if there was weird like cut shots of them just like hitting the ball and all of a sudden like the game's done, it doesn't really. You don't really see the intensity of the game, whereas with the animation, you see the intensity, you see the sweat dropping,
Yes.
you see like the speed and the movement, and I think that really enhanced the film.
Yes. Yeah. I think you can kind of compare it. So I think a lot of times in like action anime, they'll do the thing where like if two people are fighting, they'll do the thing where like they like go past each other and then like one person falls down and like that's how they incorporate like the action when it's on like a lower budget. And it's like, man, you really take away from showing like a cool fight. This might be a hot take, but I've done this in the past. I think like these Haikyu movies are fights, like they're battles. When I do like my when I do like my best fight of the year for like the Anime of the Year awards, like I've included Haikyu. Like they are fighting for, in like a different sense, and I think when I look for, I'm gonna put this in quotation since we're talking Haikyu, action, animation drives it like so much more than say like a romance or something. Where like I don't care about the animation and a romance story. It's not about the animation. This is about the animation because you can tell the visual storytelling of how hard something is hit through that. Like you don't have to say it. You don't have to like, you can just show us. And I think they did that with a couple of things with, like Hinata when they did like the super high toss and, how they showcased that was just like, okay, like they actually did explain it a little bit, which I also think is great because like it's another reason why I love Haikyuu is like the strategy of volleyball because like with Hinata they were going with like quicks, and then so they were preparing for quicks, and then they hit them with this one where they mistime it, and then Hinata's able to get the point, and I think it's like showcased with how well that's animated was just like, oh my god, like you don't have to tell me anything, like I completely understood that. So man, it's just like there's so many reasons why I love Haikyuu, and now I'm just like, okay, now I want to talk about the technique of this. So we will talk about the POV final point towards the end because I think that's like I think that incorporates animation, but I also think that's like a huge like storytelling thing with it. But diving into like how this story was structured, where with the OVAs we saw Nekoma get their victory that is leading into this battle against oh my god, what is their school called? Karasano. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
And they flipped the switch a little bit with in the movie Kenma is the main character.
Yeah.
Like it's through the eyes of him, but I also thought they did like a really good job at still showcasing Shoyo throughout to make him still like be I would say like 1B and Kenma is 1A. And and just their relationship between finding like a friendship through volleyball. So I want to get your thoughts on sort of viewing it through Kenma and not through Shoyo, and if that did anything like in terms of your enjoyment or what you thought about that. Like I guess I don't know if like storyboarding is the correct word, but like going through the perspective of him instead of Shoyo.
Yeah, I really like that this was like a Kenma and technically Kuro, but Kenma focused movie. And also kind of made me think that maybe Nekoma was gonna win.
Yes.
Like I kind of was getting that vibe just because I had no idea about this arc or anything, and I assumed it was going to be all on Kurosano's view, but it was on Nekoma's view, and I think it was a great story for Kenma because it kind of we've seen Kenma in like since season 1, where like he's like playing volleyball, but he's kind of chill, like he's like playing it because his friend Kuro brought him into it, and he just happens to be good, like strategizing the plays. And then at the end of this film, like it's a huge arc for him, and he's kind of has this revelation, like, "Geez, I fucking love this game. I love this. I love playing sports." And I think that made the movie even better because if it was just about Kurosano and like Hinata like wanting to beat Kenma, I don't think the story would have hit as hard as if it was in Kenma's view. Because even though like they lost, it was still a win for Kenma because he like discovered the fact, oh, like I really actually love this game. Yeah, I think it was very beneficial that was in Kenma's view.
Yeah. So one thing why I like love Haikyuu is how it showcases competitive sports. So when I was growing up, I played sports my entire life, and with anime sports in general, I think it's more about like showcasing like it's not really showcasing like the intricacies of sports. It's more of just like showcasing the sport itself. Like if it's a baseball, they show how fast a baseball goes. If it's soccer, they show how hard they can kick it. But with like Haikyuu, they show like the relationships more, I feel like, in it. And one reason why I like absolutely fell in love with this movie. So I met my best friend playing tennis in high school. He went to a different school than me. But every year we played tennis, I would always play against him. 9th through 12th grade, I played him 4 times. Every single year we were ranked the exact same position in tennis, and I went 0-4 against him. And that kind of sparked like a rivalry with like when I was in like 10th grade going to 11th, when I was going to up against if any Minnesota listeners are out there, if I was going up against Blaine, I knew I was going to be playing Iskender, probably. And so I went there and like I'd play against him. I'm like, I'm playing this kid again. Like he beat me last year. He's not going to beat me this year. And then he did beat me. And how they showcase like Kenma finding a friend through sports, I was just like, yes, like this is real. Like I think people get confused sometimes with like real sports where like when you're on the court, you're a little bit more passionate and you're a little bit more serious, and it looks like you actually like hate the person, but that's not what it is. Like they drive each other to be who they are on the court, and then outside the court you see that they're like friendly because like you leave it all on the court, like that phrase or whatever. And just kind of like how Haikyuu showcased this developing friendship, I just was just like, this is me. Like I am Kenma right now. Like I get wanting to beat, or like, I guess in his case it's while also finding like a friend, I guess it's also like discovering like a passion for volleyball, which I thought was cool. It's a little different for me since I already like enjoyed sports more than he did, but like showcasing that intricacy of like, you know, finding a friendship with like your teammates or a rival was just so well done and so realistic outside of like what I expect from anime, that it's just like, this is why I love Haikyuu. And man, I thought it was just genius how they incorporated Kenma as the MC, because I thought they were only going to do that for the OVA because it made sense. Like that Nekoma was Karasuno's next opponent. You're probably going to view if you somebody on their team, and then coming into the movie, they didn't switch it, and I was like, oh, this is where we're going. This could be interesting because Kenma has always been, and Nekoma has always been sort of, I don't even know if they're like their rivals, but they've always been like a side thing. And to showcase him as the main character was, I thought, just handled so well. So I gotta give props to the mangaka who wrote this, because I talked to Preston before this, and it's handled the same way in the manga. So like how they incorporated that into the story was just awesome. And I don't know if I've really seen that before. I mean, I'm sure I have, I just can't recall, but especially not in sports anime. So I gotta give credit where credit's due with that. So is there anything like specific you want to talk about or that we missed on?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about the Hinata and Kenma thing,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think I really do love the fact that the film did do flashbacks to like things that happened in season 1, especially like the training camp, but also when Kenma and Hinata first met, because I think that was a very important part of the movie. And as soon as they met, you felt the intensity of their rivalry. Like, there was like camaraderie, but like they showed the cat and the crow like in the corner. You can see like the intensity between the both of them, and it showed like how that rivalry but friendship like built over these last few years. And then during the game, I just love the fact that they were like not talking shit, but talking shit to each other.
Yeah,
Like,
in like a friendly
Kenma,
manner.
he had like this smirk with him. Like, I forgot some of the comments they had, but it was just like the rivalry between them was just so much fun on the court. And I think we saw a bit of that, not just with Kenma and Hinata, but also with the other characters like Kuro and Shukishima, Nekoma's Libero with Nishinoya. Like, I think with Nekoma, I think it's because they were the first team that Kurisano played with. Maybe. I don't know, but for some reason, Nekoma just feels very important to me personally, and also towards Kurosano. Maybe not because I love Kuro, but I think they're a very significant team with Kurosano, and I just love the connections of like the different rivalries between each player in both teams. I
Hmm.
think the Shikishima and Kuro banter across the net was really funny, and they kind of tied it back to the training camp where like Kuro was like, "Hey, come and train with us," and they brought that back, and that was probably like that's my favorite arc of all time, and so
Ooh, nice.
I just love I love the callback to that, and I just thought it was just so much fun.
Yeah, you know when they play other schools, so like when they played like Date Tech, they had like a guy who was like 200 centimeters. Like Karasuno doesn't have somebody who is 6'6" or whatever. Or when they played Shiro Torizawa, like they had the number one player in Japan. Like Kurosano is like a balanced team, I would say. With Nekama, it's like I feel like they're like parallels to each other. Like you said, like the liberos were like the same person. I would say Kuro and Tsukishima are more like yin and yang, but like like opposites attract type of thing. And then like I think Hinata and Kenma sort of had that like we're both kind of small, we're both kind of playing in the middle, not like little giant style since Hinata's more of a spiker and Kenma's more of the setter, but I really like how they like matched up because I also think that's a thing in sports where you pair up against a team where like you are so evenly matched, and like those are the best games. Those are like it's awesome being David and defeating Goliath like they did with Shiro Torizawa. Like that's cool. Like that's an incredible feat, but I feel like you have more fun playing against a team like this. Like this was like Shiro Torizawa was like a war. This was like I don't know, a friendly scrimmage. Like you both like respected the hell out of each other. Like you both wanted to showcase what you got, and I feel like that's what we got. And I just another props of what Haikyuu does in terms of like team sports.
I was rooting for both. Like I was literally rooting for both teams. Like I didn't care who was gonna win. I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, this game is awesome. Whoever wins, I'm happy for them.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It was. God. It was so good. Trying to think if there was anything in particular.
Um,
Oh, go for it.
uh, Showing Kenma and Kuro's relationship,
Oh, that was so
and
good.
they were like little. We got baby Kuro. It was just so cute. I
Oh,
love
little
Kuro
baby
so much.
Kuro.
But just he was so cute. But just showing how like Kuro like moved next door, and he's like, "Hey, let's play volleyball," and Kenma's like, "Okay." And then I just love the fact that they grew up with each other, and then like Kuro really respected Kenma's decision of like playing volleyball and joining him, but like not playing anything else. I think there was like a scene where
The
Kuro
dad.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was actually really sweet. And I just love their camaraderie together. And then at the end, when Kenma is like, I love this game. Thank you for introducing it to me. Like, I think I started crying because it was just a sweet moment with Kuro, and Kuro was about to break down and cry too. And I just love them showing their relationship throughout the movie because it really was through Kenma's eyes. And I think Kuro is such an important person to him. And I just love the fact that that was highlighted in the movie.
Yeah. No, their friendship was great. I think it's fun, especially with like you have like a best friend where like I think you have that connection where like you can push their buttons a little bit, but at the same time you still like respect them or whatever. And like I thought that was cool to see like Kuro be like he doesn't want to do this, so I'm not going to force him to do that. And it's just like a little thing like that where it's just like, oh yeah, these guys are best friends. Like you don't have to do everything with your best friend, but like I love that. And the dad being just like, oh okay, sure, like yeah, like I get that you're friends with my son, blah blah blah, and I think Kenma like really respected that, and because of that, like I'm assuming it's like a driving factor for him wanting to continue to play volleyball because like, oh, I like this dude, like I'll play volleyball with him, like he's fun and friendly, and he's like I guess it's like the extrovert adopting the introvert type of thing, and that dynamic was just great. And then like you said at the end where he said like Kenma had so much fun in the match. Thank you for introducing me to volleyball. He's like, I never would have gotten this because I think we got like a message when he was like playing video games where he said something along the lines of like, I'd rather like I could be getting this mixed up, but it's like I'd rather like lose than the game end or something like that. And this sort of was the opposite. Like the game ended and he lost, and it's just like, no, that was fun. Like I don't care that I lost. Like
Mm.
it was fun, and I that is so good. It's just I guess thinking about it now, where coming into this, I liked Kenma as a character. I liked
Yes.
him. I didn't love him. I love Kenma as a character now. Like it was. I wish we got like more, because I know it's like the next movie ends the series, but like they're first years. I want to see what they're like in their second year too. And I know we get like a time skip, and I'm actually shocked that I haven't been spoiled on Haikyu yet. All I know that there is a time skip.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens in the time skip, but like, damn it, I want to see them. I want to see Kenma get revenge year 2, and then, you know, year 3, that's like the deciding battle with Nekoma and Kurosano. Oh, that would have been the dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Kenma was like, even though this like Haikyuu's known to be like a comedy, it's like heartwarming. But this movie, like there's moments where it was a bit of a thriller and kind of scary with Kenma. Like he had his cat-like eyes and his grin, and there was like that scene where he put Hinata in a cage. Like there were some like kind of chilling moments that I really liked about it. It kind of showed how like even though Kenma just seems very laid back and doesn't really care, they showed a different side of him where like his strategic mastermind side of him that was so cool. And I don't think we've seen that in past. I haven't watched the OVA in a long time, but this really showed a different light to Kenma and like how he is, like how his mastermind works, and it was a little thrilling and kind of villain like. It was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Another thing I give Haikyuu props for, because for me, I'm a very laid back and chill person. Like even when it comes to like sports, I was there to like have fun. But like when you're like locked in, it like unlocks another side of you where it's just like, it's not time for fun and games right now. Like I'm locked in and I'm trying to win. And I thought like how they represented, like you said, with his eyes and just like death staring somebody. It's like, we're doing this. Like no words. And then like, with Kenma being more of like a quiet character, when he did say something that was like I wouldn't say out of character, but like different than what his normal is, like the whole team's just like, hey yo, like
yeah.
like I was hearing you, now I'm listening to you, and it's just like, oh, okay, like it's cool because like it showcases somebody like Kenma can be a leader on the team without being the extroverted, loud, vocal person. Like he's the exact opposite of Hinata. And it like, I guess it's more of like an action speak louder than words type of player, which was just the contrast between him and Shoyo is just it's great. Do you have anything else about Kenma? Because I have something I want to talk about. Or any other characters, I should say.
Any other characters? Well, I was really happy to see Tendo again.
Yeah.
Because he's the funniest. I love him. He's just so funny. And I was really happy to see Boku. I mean, I knew Bokuto was going to be around. So I was just happy to see him.
Yeah, he's
my favorite next to Kuro, so.
He's super. His little quirks are just like, he would like say something and then check with his buddy, be like, is that is that how you say it? And he's like, yeah, you're good. Where it's like he's so like awkward, but like it doesn't matter. That's not stopping him from like expressing himself, and it's just like, yo, is that cool? All right, cool. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, Bokuto just, I mean, obviously with what we're going to get with the next movie, I'm so intrigued because like he is, I don't know where he's ranked in terms of like player rankings, but I think he's like super highly ranked. Like I think he's like one of the best, so it'll be interesting to see, because we saw it with like the training arc with him, but I don't know if have we seen like a full match of like his team or any like highlights? I don't really remember.
Into the Top, because I was watching To the Top a bit before this, and I think we did see a bit of his match with another team. Yeah.
I apologize, Haikyuu fans.
It's been 3 years since the last.
Exactly. It's like it's been 3.5 years since I watched To the Top. My apologies if I forgot something. I've watched 400 anime in between the movie and this.
Exactly.
One thing that I forgot about Haikyuu that I don't know why I forgot. This show is hilarious. It is so funny. I don't know if you have like a specific scene that like stood out to you that was like funny, but when Shoyo was just screaming when Kenma said like, "Oh, this is fun," and like he just lost his mind, where that was more important than winning the point. And
Yeah.
it was like the exact opposite of like the dead silence comedy, where it's like nothing happens for 10 seconds, it's just dead air. Shoyo just never stopped screaming. He was just elated. It's like getting an N64 on Christmas. It was just like, ah, ah, and he just, I was, the whole theater was like gut laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a scene that stuck out to you, but oh my god, that was so funny.
I just remember laughing a lot, but I think that's like why I love Haikyuu so much, is that it's not just like sports, it's like camaraderie and just like the fun banter, not just within the team, but also with other teams, like just like them talking shit to each other. And I
Mm-hmm.
just thought it was so fun. I can't think of one because I think this movie was just like go, 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 go. Like there was no dull moment to like, so like I just don't remember because I just remember
Sure.
laughing a lot. I remember like cheering a lot, but like I just remember it was just stupid funny.
Yeah.
And I want to watch it again, like immediately.
I think it's
So
more like for the most part, I think it's more like the jabs that they did. Like, uh,
yeah,
when like Shoyo would get like a spike, and then Kageyama's like, "Yeah, that's fine. Do it again. Like the match isn't over. Like that was cool. I'm not gonna give you props for one spike. You need to do that 20 more times."
yeah,
And it's just like, because I still think like Kageyama views Shoyo as a rival. So like
yeah,
that's really fun too. I don't know if Kageyama is getting jealous. That'd be hilarious if we saw like a Tsundere Kageyama getting jealous over Kenma. But Kuru and Tsukishima, like their little jabs where, like you said, the callback where Tsukishima wasn't staying late and taking extra practice with like blocks and stuff. And then Tsukishima's just like, and then he like block curl. He's like, I don't know if he'd like said this, but this is kind of like the vibe I got. He was like, see, I didn't need to practice. Like I can block you no matter what. And then curl comes back and like spikes in his face. He's like, nah, you needed to practice more. And it's just like stuff like that where it's just like, I do think in the moment it's, I guess it's how it's presented, where yes, it's serious, but they're saying it in like a really friendly jab manner. And I thought that was great. And then the Libro with like Nishioya and the other guy was just like, they were like trying to like one up each other with who was trying to be the better Libero. And that was just like, oh, this is like the dialogue itself was great. It's just the one thing with like this show and like other shows in general, where like if it feels like I'm watching for like 20 minutes and it's an hour and a half, like that's how you know it's the sign of a good show or a good
yeah,
movie. And it's just like it was over, and I know it's only like an hour and like 25 minutes or something like that. It's like I was over, I was like, no, I want more. That was only like one episode, right? It's like, oh no, it's been 90 minutes. It's like, damn, I was having so much fun watching this. It's just like, damn. Let's see. We covered characters and some of the animation. Anything in particular that you wanted to talk about with this movie?
probably the latter half at the end.
Okay,
With
yeah. Let's dive into that. Do you have
yeah,
anything specific?
I think it was just the fact that there were, because mentioned earlier there was like it was very go, 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 go,
Yep.
but then all of a sudden like the movie like pauses sort of, where it goes to Kenma's view and he's doing like this spin around and he's seeing like a flashback of like a past game. And I think that was like when the movie just like we were all like tense. And then I think it was a good way to like absorb the fact that they lost,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a slowdown. And then obviously we found out that they lost. But it was like a great way to like, it was, the pacing was just so cool in this movie.
Yes.
It was just so good and so well done that I think like that POV was awesome. And also, was there a POV with the ball? I think at some point, was that the same?
Yeah. When it went up like really high. No, not with the ball. I think it was like,
Maybe.
if we're talking like the last scene, I think it was purely through Kenma's POV.
Okay, maybe that was. I'm thinking Challengers, because in Challengers was like a scene where like you see the tennis ball moving back and forth. But yeah, just that whole like slowdown and just Kenma just reflecting on his life, playing this game that he didn't really kind of care about, and he's like, oh shit. And then obviously he misses the ball, and then he's like, you know what? I love this game.
Yes.
That was incredible. I
Yeah.
think that was a great way of pacing. I don't know how it looked in the manga. I don't know if it was like a bunch of panels just like of no words, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that was really well fun.
Yeah, the whole POV with Kenma, like on his last breath, knowing that if they don't get this point, it's over. And you can just tell that he has nothing left in the tank, but he's trying to give it his all. And he doesn't want to stop. He's having so much fun. And at the end, pushing himself that hard, and with, well, I guess it's a combination of him being just absolutely gassed, and the combination of, they explain it as well, with the ball being so sweaty with people hitting it, that when he goes for the set, it slips through his fingers, and the match just ends. Like, that's it. That's the last point. And I was just like, oh my God, that was genius. Like, I think what this did was sort of, I couldn't guess how the final point was going to end. And you brought up earlier, I didn't know who was going to win either, which I think is a great thing. I mean, I had a good idea that, you know, they were like Kurosawa was going to win, but like they do a really good job at me thinking that maybe Nekoma has a chance type of thing because Kenma's the main character. But that final scene where everything you put into, and it's not even like, I don't even say it's like a mistake on Kenma. It's just, sometimes that just happens.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, if that happened earlier in the match, it'd been like a whatever point. Like, oh, I made a mistake, let's move on to the next point. It's because that was the final point. It was just like, oh, that was it. And I think at the time I was like, oh my God, that's kind of cool, but a little anticlimactic, because I thought it was going to be like this grand rally with a major spike and somebody giving it their all, and that's how it's going to end. But it's like, nah, it just, that's what happens sometimes. It's just, you know, like bring up like my tennis example. Like, I remember having like final points and like hitting like the wood of my racket, and I hit the ball out, and it's just like, that wasn't even like a mistake of me hitting the ball too hard or misplacing it or something like that. It's just like, I just hit it a little bit too close to the wood on my racket, and I lost the point because of that. It's just like, damn, like human error is such a thing in sports, and I don't know how well that's showcased. And it took a second for me to soak it in, and then after I soaked it in, I was like, that was fucking genius. That was so good. Oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah, I love the fact that like Hinata was like saying yes, but I don't know if he was saying yes about getting the point, but he didn't realize they actually won the game.
Yeah,
because they turned around and he was ready for the next round, and Kageyama was like, "No, we won."
You get lost. You get lost in the sauce.
Yeah. I mean, because I used to play volleyball, I knew where we were at the game, so I was like, "Oh shit, they have one more." So I knew they won, but for some reason I forgot, and I was like, "Okay, I'm ready for the next round. Like, let's go," because I thought the movie we had another 30 minutes or something. But oh man, that was, I love the way that they paced the movie, and the fact that like, yes, the win wasn't like a huge like spike on the ground, but I think that was a perfect way to end the movie.
Yeah it reminds me of something like this sucks because I'm bringing it up because it's a Minnesota sports thing, because our basketball team just got kicked out of the finals, where you have like this epic, you know, you're on this run, it's epic or whatever, and then you're in this elimination game and you're thinking it's going to be like a close match or whatever. Sometimes you just lose by 25. It's like, sometimes you just get blown out, and sometimes you just make a mistake, and it's just like, damn, sometimes it's just not working that day or whatever at that point. It's like, yep, that's sports. And it's just like, I know I've had it with my like competitive endeavors, because it's not just with sports, but I remember playing, this is gonna make me sound like a huge loser, a League of Legends tournament, and like we went to like this huge LAN or whatever, and like we won, and I just sat there, it's like, oh cool, we won. It's like that was it. Like it wasn't like, oh no, it's sometimes it's hard to describe, where it's like you get so caught up in the moment where it's just like, cool, we did it. And then I think Show is just like, cool, we won the point. It's like, nah, dude, we won the match. It's like, oh, cool. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. All right. But I mean, that whole POV scene with Kenma, I thought was just, I talked about earlier, the flex in the first rally And I was like, how are they going to like up like one up that? Because like to me, that I thought was up until this point was the best like animated scene in the story or in the movie, I should say. And I feel like you should close with that, not open with that. And then they did this. And I was just like, oh, that's why they did it in the beginning. Because they wanted to showcase this part. And I just thought, there's so many things where I was just like in my head watching, I'm like, this is genius. This is like absolute genius. I know somebody said the POV scene was maybe a little long and they were getting nauseous. I don't know if you felt nauseous at all, but I remember
in the sauce.
What's that movie? Have you seen Cloverfield?
No.
Okay, it's like a New York City, and then like Godzilla essentially attacks, but it's through the eyes of like a camcorder, like they're filming it. So it's like a POV thing through a camcorder. And I remember when that movie came out, they had to give out like warning, if you get nauseous early or often or whatever or easily, like you should be concerned. I could see that with this POV with like I was thinking back to the Cloverfield movie. I'm like, I wonder if people are going to get sick from this, because like I know people who do get sick from this type of thing. So I didn't get it. It sounds like you didn't get it either. So I just thought the whole scene, I was just so entranced by like this POV scene where it's just like, oh my God, this is so good. And I also want to give a shout out sort of to Shoyo. He slips on his sweat and it cost them a point. And I don't know if that's like necessarily foreshadowing, but like seeing it on the other end with Kenma and losing it because of the sweat was such a fun callback, I would say. I don't know. Just, I legit think that you could write like an analyst about this, not even like this movie, that one specific point and the callbacks that it had from earlier stages, and like how it was showcased through the POV of Kenma. Everything about that scene I just thought was absolutely incredible. Like legit a 10 out of 10 animated movie. Like, oh my God, it was so good. Anything else that you have on your mind that you want to get out?
I think so. I was thinking about this because there was like an article posted on like this Discord. Join the Discord if you want to talk to us.
Oh, sick plug, Cozette. Links in the description below.
Someone posted an article, I think it was from The Guardian or something, and someone said like, if you haven't watched Haikyuu, you won't enjoy this movie.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so like in my opinion, I feel like if you wanted to show someone what 4 seasons of Haikyuu is like in an hour and a half, watch this movie, because you can see the camaraderie, you can see the rivalry, you can see the friendship and the loving and the throwbacks and it was just a great way. I think it's a great way to introduce somebody. Maybe that's a hot take, but I feel like if you introduce a friend to Haikyuu and you're like, here, just sit here for an hour and however long it was, get a gist of what Haikyuu is like, and you see it. You see, like, I mean, I don't know if you'll get spoiled that much, but I just thought this movie could be a nice intro if you just want to show someone what 4 seasons of Haikyuu would be like.
Completely agree, especially with like the flashbacks. I think it gives you a good idea of like what's happening, and I think it does it like if you wanted to just pick it up from here and then go back. I think it's a good, instead of like seeing you, because like some of the relationships are like established.
Yeah,
you can go back and see how those relationships get established instead of watching the process. So I would personally, like, I get what you're saying, like 100%. Like, if you were blind to Haikyuu and you wanted to bring a friend, I think this movie was they could understand it 94%. I personally, I think I would start with season 1, but like I 100% agree with. I saw that article as well. I completely disagree. I think he gave it like a 2 out of 5. I'm just like, you're either on something. I don't know. You're smoking something illegal. Like, when I praise shows that I love, I'm overly positive, and I still try to find things that I can like reel myself back into reality. It's like, okay, yes, I'm super biased, but like, okay, what am I missing that like other people would maybe critique? we've had 2 days to digest what we saw. I'm still trying to find a reason why I would critique this movie. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say that this is one of the best anime movies I've ever seen. Like, not everything. I don't know. I think when people think of, and this is like in like shows and movies and stuff as well, like big, either like super epic shows need to be the best, or like really well crafted, like dramas are the best. Those are the ones that win best motion picture and stuff like that. Why can't something like this be one of the best anime movies ever? Like, this is going to be a spoiler for what my rating is, and I was going through like my list of like my favorite movies, and I think this is like my 4th favorite anime movie ever. Like, the only things I have above it are Perfect Blue, which I think is the best anime ever made, just in general, Neon Genesis 3.0 plus 1.0, and The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Those are the only 3 movies I have it. I have this higher than A Silent Voice, Your Name, Weathering with You, Suzume, the Made in Abyss movie, Rebellion from Madoka Magica. Like, I think that this, just everything it tries to showcase, just hits its mark. And it's why I love Haikyuu, and why I'm so glad that this movie was a movie and not an extended episode. Because I think, like, going back to the Nekoma OVA, I mean, it is an OVA, so like, I get that. I was coming into this expecting like an OVA type of thing.
Yeah.
And it just exceeded my expectations. Shout out to Production IG, just leaps and bounds. I ranted. You got something to say? Sorry.
No, you said it perfectly. It just blew me out of the water. Because I was expecting, like, Haikyuu movie. Let's go. Because I don't even remember if I watched the trailer, because I usually try to avoid them if I know I'm going to see the movie. But I was just, like, blown out of the water. It was absolutely incredible. Like, I've been on adrenaline since Thursday night. It was absolutely incredible. And I started to think, like, did the audience experience make me enjoy the movie even more? It did, but did it affect my rating? Like, if I was watching it at home, would I still give it the rating that I did? And I would say yes, because at home I'm also like, because I didn't watch Haikyuu as a seasonal. I watched it as a complete binge.
Sure.
I think 3 years ago when To the Top aired, so like I'm used to binging it. So I really appreciate the fact that it was in movie form, because there wasn't like an episode break every single week. So we actually got to see the whole match in just one straight movie, and I appreciated that. That's because I binged Haikyuu myself, so I really appreciate that. That's the one issue I have with sports anime when I'm watching it as a seasonal, is that they break up the matches in many episodes, and I feel like I'd rather binge it. That's kind of like how I felt with Blue Lock a bit, which is why I dropped it. But
hey, me too, so I get it.
So I did appreciate it as a movie. I know that Preston was kind of pinned, like he wanted to see more, and I totally get that. But I don't know if, like, by seeing more, like, if there was another match added to the movie, I don't know if that would fit well in the movie format. Because, like, this is all Kenma. Like, this is like Kenma movie. So if we saw the next match, I don't think it would have done as well.
I think like because I'm an idiot and I didn't stay for the end credits, but somebody told me what happened at the end of the end credits. I think that's enough to set it up. Like, I don't think you need, I think you can kind of set up with the end credits, and then the next movie, I think, because this one took not super long to get into the match. I think with the next movie, you could kind of jump into the next match pretty quick. Yeah. I'm also just super intrigued because we're both anime onlys and we haven't been spoiled. So somebody might be like, what are you talking about? There's still, if they win the next match, then it's the championship. So like, there's still a possibility of 2 matches with 1 movie left. So I don't know how that's going to get played out. And there's also a time skip. So
maybe the time skip will be in OVA. Yeah, you're right. Because this was an hour. It would have to be like a 3-hour
Yeah,
movie.
right? That's what I was thinking.
Or like a part, or maybe like it's an Attack on Titan with like 5 parts.
Yeah, because they said this is going to be, the finals are going to be 2 movies. But then Attack on Titan also did like, it's going to be 1 final part, which ended up being like 4 or something. So like, I hope it's not like super rushed, because this movie adapted 38 chapters, and
Okay.
being anime only, I didn't feel like it was rushed like at all.
Hmm.
I think Preston, who read the manga, said it was like a little bit, but I think he thoroughly enjoyed and loved it. So I think the pacing was good for this. So it leaves me with good hope that movie 2 will also be paced correctly.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that the next iteration of Haikyuu that we get is the goods, yeah, and not Promise Neverland season 2 type of thing, where we get a
I
slideshow.
I don't even know if they announced when the next movie's coming out.
I don't think they have. All I know is that
Mm.
there is another movie. Let me check. I'm on Mal right now. Nope, it doesn't say a date yet. So
So probably a year or two.
I'd say next year, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, because Demon Slayer, they came out, they pump out movies like crazy.
Hmm.
So, well, not movies, they release like a longer version of the episode.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
give you,
yeah, yeah. I guess yeah, for sure. I'm also really glad I almost went and saw. There was like a monsoon essentially when I was in Japan, and this movie was airing, and I almost went and saw it. I'm really glad I didn't go see it in Japan. Um, I mean, I think I still would really enjoy it, but I think the dialogue just adds so much to this. I can't. It's just we could jump into our final ratings, but I just gotta say, like, everything about this movie I thought was near perfection. I thought like the sound design was like a 10 out of 10. The OST, I thought the OST was like really good. It's hard when, like I said earlier before, when Battle of the Concepts is in my head, I was looking for something like Battle of the Concepts, but like it was still like, it was prevalent in the movie. Like it wasn't gone. So I would say like the OST is like a 9, the animation's a 10, my enjoyment was a 10. God, I really, if I had more time in my life, I would go see this again. I don't know if I would pay. My IMAX ticket was like $26. I don't know if I would pay $26 to see this movie again. But if I was ever like on like a Tuesday night $5 deal thing, I would definitely go and see this movie again. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you couldn't tell, I'm giving this movie a 10. It's my fourth favorite at the moment, fourth favorite movie of all time. I have it as my number 16 anime of all time. It's probably gonna move up once the final movie is done. I'm gonna wait and see that. It's like the same thing with like Link Click, where I love Link Click, but I need to see how it ends before I like properly rate it. I need to see how this concludes before it moves up. But I mean, number 16 all time when I've seen like 1,000 anime. Obviously, I'm a huge Haikyu fan. Just adored, a fantastic entry to the franchise. The guy at the Guardian who gave it 2 stars is smoking crack. This movie is so good. It's at 8.72 right now on Mal, so like it's getting incredible reviews. It's just behind the Shir Torizawa one. Is just so this is the second highest rated Haikyuu property at the moment on Mal, but I'll be intrigued to see if more and more people see it, if it surpasses that, because I think because the Shir Torizawa was my favorite arc in anime ever for like the longest time. It's now my second favorite. I think this is better than Shir Torizawa. Like for me, like
Yeah.
I rave and rave and rave about season 3 of Haikyuu. I think I think it's one of the best like sequels ever in anime, and to surpass that is so hard to do. And I think that this movie is just a little bit better than that, which is saying something of a show that I gave a 10 out of 10 for. So love it. I'm hoping the people who went out and saw it loved it, and I hope you can share the same feeling what I'm feeling, because there's a lot going on with Haikyuu. Cozette, what is your final thoughts and your ratings on this movie?
There was not enough Kyoko, so I'm gonna flag that. I was really sad she didn't have a moment.
Okay.
I don't remember if there was a reason why there wasn't a lot of her, but that's fine. Because you know what? I gave this movie a damn 10. Like, it was, I'm very generous, but this was like absolutely incredible. As someone who's like a big film watcher as well in general, like, I rank this right next to Challengers. So if you like this movie,
Wow.
you might like Challengers. As a sports film, it's absolutely incredible.
I need to
I
watch
just
that. As
you,
someone
if
who
you
played
play,
tennis, it's just like I need to
yeah,
watch
you would
challengers.
love it. The way that they animated, I mean, not animated, when the way that they filmed the tennis scenes were absolutely incredible. But I thought the pacing was perfect. Like I couldn't tell if they missed any manga chapters or they were rushing anything.
Hmm.
It has everything that I love about Haikyuu. It had the comedy, the camaraderie. It's the Haikyuu is like my favorite sports anime of all time for a reason.
Yep,
Next to
same.
Free, like Free is my second favorite, but or no, wait, Yuri on Ice and then Free. But it was just the cinematography was better than like any other Haikyuu season for me. I didn't actually notice the music as much, but I think it's because I was just on the edge of my seat.
Hmm.
I for once I was actually not paying attention to the music, which I usually do, but this time I was just like immersed in like the animation and the game and everything. But it was just perfection. And I think like you can bring a sports fan to this movie and I think they
Yes.
would still enjoy it because it really did feel like I was sitting in a stadium watching a playoff game because those are so much fun. And it just felt like a sports match. Like I was just like when they were exhausted from the game, I felt exhausted. Like I was like not like in a negative way. I felt for them, and
Hmm.
I just felt so much empathy for them. So it's so perfect. I don't know where it ranks because I'm not like Pete.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
my
I like
OCD with
things.
ranking everything. Yeah.
I just say I like things, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the way.
I
So
get that
I really like.
I am the freak with that.
Yeah, you do you. I do me. I
Exactly.
just I loved it. It's so perfect. I think if you're a Haikyuu fan, you should watch it. If you're an anime fan, I think, and you've never watched Haikyuu, just go. Just just go. You can watch it without watching the past seasons, I think. But yeah, I loved it. There was a few moments where I forgot a few things, like characters that were they showed that I didn't remember, but
Yep.
that's just me having old lady brain.
So
But
I get it. I
um,
got old man brain too.
like the snake looking guy, I didn't remember who he was. So um yeah, it was so perfect. Like I was like trying to think about the last 2 days, like what can I say about this movie that isn't just like I love it, but
Hmm.
it just I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just really good. It's just really fun, and
yeah.
everything was executed fantastically. Like, gotta give
I
credit
would
where
buy
credit.
it. I would buy the DVD. I don't even own a DVD player, and I would buy it. It was just so good.
I'll buy 3 copies. It doesn't matter.
I'll buy it in Japanese and English. That's what I'll do.
Absolutely. Well, I think we have got to the end. Thank you, Cosette, for joining me. This was. I'm so glad that this movie didn't suck, because it would be a very lame episode to record. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad Miles isn't here because he would have given it an 8, and I would have ostracized him for doing so. But I just hope everybody enjoys the movie and what Haikyuu brought to us. So want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do so is to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, the typical mumbo jumbo. And then, yeah, can't wait for the next movie that we review. Otherwise, I'll probably be seeing you on our seasonal review. So thanks to everybody out there listening. Thanks again, Cosette, and we will see you next time. Peace.